Welcome to Reimagine Communication. This is an unfolding dialogue between Liv Larson and Kay Rung. For 3 decades, they have explored nonviolent communication, not only as a way to navigate conflict, but as a doorway into something larger. What it means to be human, together. Here, communication is not technique. It is presence. It is listening for what longs to be heard. It is daring to stay open in the midst of complexity. These conversations are living questions about truth, about connection, about the courage to meet life as it is and as it could be. You are invited to listen, to pause, and perhaps to discover something new moving in you. Let's begin.
Hi, Liv.
Hello, Kai.
Last time we talked about empathy, and we also used a metaphor that it's one side of a coin, and I thought we'll talk about the other side of the coin. So we become more real in the sense that we acknowledge there's two sides of the coin.
Yeah, I like that, and it's kind of your expertise. You're the one that has been doing most trainings on. Well, I think you've called it something like "Don't be nice, be real," or that kind of going beyond polite expression and finding more of your own truth. That's right.
Yeah.
So maybe it's my time to my turn to ask you questions about that. And I wonder how, if you had any sense of when you first got like interested or you first saw some of the importance in being able to express ourselves in a way that would make sense for the other person.
Wow. First memory. That's a hard one. I do have one specific memory when I was a kid.
Mm.
This was in the summer holiday, summer vacation time. I don't remember how old I was or how young I was, but probably around 10. And I bought a bag of candy, and some of the candies I liked, and some of them I didn't. So I ate the ones I liked, and then I went to kind of a walking street in this town in Finland, and I started asking people if they want to buy candy from me. So I sold the candies I didn't like. And then I got money so I could buy more candy. And that time I kind of learned that, well, if I could, interact with people, that could be really wonderful. I get more candy. And I think that has been with me through my adult life, that through conversations, to expressing, through connecting, beautiful things can happen, candy or no candy. But so I think that's probably the earliest memory, but I didn't reflect on it then, but that is a sweet memory that often comes back to me.
So it sounds like you're defining honest expression or expression in a much wider way than just like telling the truth or being open about something. Is that correct?
Yeah, because like when I have done workshops or do supporting people, and if they say I want to be more honest, I want to express myself, so then I assume that it's not enough to just want to express oneself. I need to know also what I want to say and why do I want to say it. And it seems like if we don't hear that inner voice, then it's really hard to say something because I don't have anything to say, kind of. So that kind of listening to oneself's I think is a good start if you want to grow a more expressive side of yourself. Like, so what to express?
Yeah, so are you saying that there's some kind of inner signals that tells you now it's time to speak up, or what do you mean with the internal part of the expression?
Yeah, so I'm 51 years old today. So I can look back at my life and see that I've kind of changed over the years, and I have pretty strong memories when I became aware that I had voices within me that were not my voices,
Mhm.
that were like my parents, things they have told me about life, how I should live and what I should think and what is important, and also what I could and what I couldn't do.
Mhm.
So I became aware that I had like inner expectations, but they were not inner. They were installed by people around me, so to say, on the culture and the time we were living in.
And do you mean that that was a problem or a help?
That was really helpful um, in getting going in life, kind of fitting
Mm.
in, and like we could call it being socialized. But that voice also told me what was okay to express, how much was okay, and so forth. So I remember becoming more and more aware that that inner voice was not my voice, so to
Mm.
say. So then I became curious. So who am I? And is there a voice within me?
Mm.
And I believe that when we become aware of that, and that becomes like interesting to us to differentiate. So is this something that I've learned, or is this something that I'm choosing? Uh, like men shouldn't dance, or I wasn't very practical. Those were
And
things.
what do you mean if in what way does that matter? If it's more like a sense of an authentic inner voice or just the learned paradigm of your family or culture? Why does that matter you in your view what people
Well,
express?
I don't know if I'm gonna live many times. I don't know if if reincarnation is true or not. That's to be find out. So being human in this life for me is kind of precious in the sense that I'm here and I can. How should I live? Like there's a lot of questions. Like, who am I? How should I live? What is important? Am I allowed to be here? And so forth. So for me, this is kind of a natural impulse to kind of be curious about who am I, what do I want, what is important. And it was very clear when I could start to hear the difference between what I wanted and what other people expected from me.
Mm,
That was kind of a aha moment.
a cool place of making that distinction.
Yeah, because if I'm if my if I only hear other people's expectations, then there's a fear in me to kind of miss living up to people's expectations.
Hmm.
But when I start to differentiate, when I can also hear what do I want, so that is more stable in one sense because I can control it.
But would you then say that there is in that some kind of relationship between being honest, expressing honestly what you want and what you need and so on, and kindness to others, warmth towards others? Is there a conflict or are they helping each other or how do you juggle that?
Well, I was really fortunate to have a grandmother who was really, she showed me how to enjoy contributing to others.
Mm.
So, and I'm really thankful that she taught me that.
Mm.
And and um, and
Because you have a sense that she taught you that you learned that from her.
yeah, like she acted in a way, and I saw her cook and treat how she treat other people, and the joy I could see in her eyes, or interpret in her eyes, like I want to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, so there's a difference between like like trying to live up to grandmother's expectations that this is how I should be,
Mm-hmm.
and when I'm kind of, wow, that's a superhero, and then I want to kind of also have that quality. So for me, there's a difference. Uh, I don't sense that there's no one expecting me to be like my grandmother, but it just tastes good. It's like I want more of that.
But then if you want to express something that is not that nice, or you don't want to, it's not, the other person is not someone like your grandma, and you don't want to contribute anymore. So how do you hold those two?
Yeah, that's also been a quite a interesting learning that I I have a lot of memories when I've kind of thought that I should listen to people, I should help them. I did it out of some kind of expectation, and also expectation that they should, know when to stop, or asking, or when I expect something back and I don't get it. So I've become more aware that people can't read my mind. So I need to kind of let them know that I need I need something. I need rest. I want to do something else.
Hmm.
And I think the more clear I can be with that, then I will do it faster. Meaning that the the cost for other people is less. I don't
Mhm.
explode as often as before when it comes to that kind of mutuality, kind of.
So it sounds like there are previous regrets about speaking honestly or expressing. Is there something you learned from that?
Yeah, I've learned that if I don't express, I like with a certain continuity, then my warmth, my genuine care is lessened. So I think I have access to more warmth and care for people if I also are more clear with my boundaries.
Hmm.
And there's this dilemma. So I need then to be able to listen and hear the boundaries. And of course, I've learned from experience. So now I can know that I will be hungry at lunch. Like
Mm-hmm.
little bit the same. I know what to expect. So when it comes to like cooperation, or quality, or mutuality, I know more about how that is done, or how that can be created, so I can be more proactive than before. I was just going for I think it will work out, but I didn't know how, kind of
Hmm.
blind trust, you could say, or just.
So it sounds like your understanding of that expression, of honest expression, is kind of growing or evolving over time, that you've added pieces to what that actually means to show up honestly. Is that how you experience it as well?
Yeah, and one of the bigger things is that, like, it's a balancing act, because I remember sitting on an airplane and reading the airplane magazine. This was
Mhm.
quite some years ago, and there was this article that about a woman. She was like the manager, like a big boss in one of like Greenpeace or Red Cross, or some organization that worked for betterment of the world, kind of. and the article was about her, and she quit that job and started a project that she wanted to row across the Atlantic.
Mm.
And there was this line that said, well, I've been spending 9 years just working to better the world, and now I'm kind of done with that, and I need to do something just for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I thought that was kind of inspiring, but also kind of sad, because I thought she might have skills that can be used for the world, but she quit. So I started thinking maybe there's like a day and night kind of balance. So if you stay awake for too long, then you have to sleep for too long. That's kind of balance. So I think honesty and empathy and listening and holding myself back for the benefit of other people, or expressing and showing myself. I think if we can move back and forth like left leg, right leg when we walk, I think that is what I like with nonviolent communication, that it kind of helps us to look for that balance, rather than doing 9 years of empathy and then never ever want to do it again for the next 9 years, because you're kind of fed up on doing that, and then you want to be fully self-centered. So yeah, that balance, I think, is, there's something in it that I find interesting.
So connecting that to nonviolent communication that you were saying, are there any preparations that a person that wants to bring up something with someone and they are scared that it will hurt the relationship, or they won't be heard, or well, something you're scared of, can you prepare for that in some way?
Yeah, I think that fear of maybe hurting someone or losing a relationship or something, I think that will keep us from being honest until we actually know how to care for that part of us.
Mm.
So I think it's not about shutting down or overriding the fear. It's like using the fear, like putting in one hand, you say, "Oh, so I'm afraid of hurting you, so that's why I'm not speaking." So then nothing happens, kind of. But then one day I will risk hurting you because the other part of me is screaming so loud.
Yeah, what was in the other hand? If you would hold something in your other hand, what would that be?
Well, that would be the other part of me who wants to express, who wants to set a boundary, who wants to put myself in the first room, maybe for the first time.
Mm.
I know my mother, she's been holding herself back for many, many years. And now she's kind of shifted. So whenever she talks about herself. It's me, kind of. And I can enjoy that. It's like trying to find that balance. But for some people, that would be maybe too much. So it's a 9 years, 9 years or 9 years. But going back to your question, what can one do is to kind of hold two sides, hold the fear and hold the longing. And if we can see both, we can start to kind of say, oh, so how can I care for both? So it's not either or, kind of.
Because that honest expression can also be care, right? It's like, because I care about our relationship, I want to set a boundary here. Because if I don't, I probably will never want to see you again. So there is
Yeah,
care in that as well.
let's say someone steps on your toes, and if you don't say anything, they might continue doing it, not being aware that they're hurting you. So
Mm.
setting a boundary is actually helping, saying, ouch, that hurts. Could you please move your feet? That
Mm.
is a way of caring for that. I want to continue playing with you.
Mm.
So, yeah, being passive and just letting people step on your toes, I think, is not sustainable. But then people also, scream and set boundaries so in a way that freaks people off.
Yeah.
So I think we also need to kind of practice, so we get smooth
Yeah.
doing this. Yeah.
And to me at least, I sometimes when I'm scared of expressing something, asking for some support from someone, it really helps to have a good friend to talk about that before. To again use the other side of the coin in nonviolent communication to tell them, I want to bring this up with this person and I'm scared. Can you hear me out? Can you help me sort out why this is so scary? That usually helps me to be more honest at a later point.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
my one kind of preparation as well.
Yeah. We need to hear that part, so that part doesn't just freak us out or take over. So being aware is it's not an option. It's like a, a prerequisite to be able to do that.
And you were saying before that maybe we use language, screaming, um using different kind of expressions, and that would scare people off or make them even more angry. Are there phrases or language patterns or something that you have seen that is working the other way, that is landing well with others, that is kind of supporting to express yourself in a certain way if you really want to be honest?
Yeah, I would put it this way, that let's say I've been quiet, holding myself back,
Mm.
and now I'm becoming aware that this is the case, and I want to express myself. I want to show myself to the world more, and set boundaries and ask for things. So in the beginning, I'm not used to it. So I will be totally focused on me, and not ever maybe think of who am I saying this to? Because depending on to who, they will interpret it and receive it differently. So I think in the beginning, it's the hardest, because then you're so busy in just setting the boundaries, so you forget that there's a recipient
Mhm.
of your behavior. And when you get more used to it, you can relax more, because you hear yourself more clearly. So you can actually focus on questions like, oh, so is this a good moment to bring this up with this person? Or is this person able to hear me?
Mhm.
So I can be more precise in to who and when and why do I want to express, because I in the end I want people to hear it. Otherwise, it's kind of not of
S-
use.
s- So you mean kind of before you bring something up to ask, like I want to bring something up, and we probably need half an hour to talk about this. Do you have that half an hour now? Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, that could be it. To like book a meeting and make sure that there's time for this conversation, because the person might not know what I want to talk about. But also the step before, like reflecting on, so this person, is he or she, you know, are they gonna be able to receive it? Do they have they shown that they are able to hear what I want to talk about? So
But what
is
about the answer is no? No, they are not. What do you do then?
well, then I have another choice. So do I want to take the risk, uh, or do I want to do something else?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes honest expression is not what I say, it's not what I don't say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't express everything to every person. So I think you and people who listen to this, that we choose what to say to whom. And sometimes we choose not to play with a person anymore if we don't find a way to have some mutuality and nurturance. So
But what
that can
about
happen
if
as well.
you, yes, and what will happen if you don't? You kind of think about this person. Maybe they are ready to hear it or not. And you go for, yeah, they are probably able to hear me. And you express, and they do like I often do, that I react defensively to that honesty, or they fall into tears, or they they get totally silent and they walk out, or
Yeah.
what 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 do you do then?
Well, let's assume that what I want to express is something that I'm connected to, that I know why I want to say it. So then if there's like a good intent, I am bringing it up because so people might react in a way that is not kind of matching what I was intending. So then I can differentiate. Oh, so you can't hear it now, or you didn't hear it, and I don't need to give myself up, but I might not continue in that moment because it's not fruitful. I might think, oh, maybe I need to talk about that. This was a bad moment. Maybe you were too stressed or busy with something else, or I need to be more clear with what I want. Maybe my need was clear, but not what I wanted. And so it's a difference when it's like excusing myself. Oh, sorry, so I shouldn't have these needs. I shouldn't express. Or if I'm like, okay, this wasn't the moment, but I'm not. So it's depending on how I hold myself, and at least the inner sense. Do I say sorry I exist, or do I say this wasn't, this didn't work in this moment, but it's not like I'm excusing myself. So there's, I would say there's a difference in quality.
And I would also guess that people who are real fans of empathic listening could say, okay, I'm going to park my expression, my request, my expression of my needs or my feelings, and then just trying to listen to how come this person gets so silent, or how come this person is starting to cry or getting angry. We could, in the best of worlds, we could actually spend some time on that before our expression. Not always, but that could be a choice, right?
Yeah, that could be a choice.
Yeah.
And if we again zoom out over time, we should think of our life as like 5 years, 10 years back and forth. Most people, like when I do trainings, I often ask. I put a sign on one wall in the room, and on the other one, and there's one sign is expressing myself, and the other one is holding myself back for the benefit of others, like focusing on on other people rather than myself. And then often conclusion is that we move between these two poles during our life, back and forth, and we learn about ourselves and about what it means to be human every time we go back and forth. So some people seem to be wanting to move from putting themselves in the first room, and they want to move to putting other people first. So they are often the people who want to learn empathy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the other group is like they who have been suppressing themselves, and now they want to express. So now they are interested in exploring honesty.
Mm.
So it's not, and this is what I mean with the coin. So
Yeah.
these are two aspects of being human, and sometimes we're exploring the empathy part, and sometimes the honesty, like in general terms,
Yeah.
over our life.
Because there could be there could be other settings as well, like a situation where there's a power imbalance, like a boss or some kind of authority figure, someone that has power over something in your life. And have you thought of how can we stay honest when we have that power imbalance? What to do with that?
Well, if we're aware of it, because it's kind of not everyone sees these kind of structures or systems that we're embedded in.
Mm.
Like we live in a lot of different. We're embedded in a lot of different systems, like the law, like the judicial system, the monetary system. There's different rules in society, so for that affect us. So being aware that we're not only trying to express one thing, but also trying to balance. That I know if I drive too fast and the police catches me, there's consequences what I say. So being aware of that, and same if I'm in the workplace and I will say something that will, create a conflict between me and my boss. Maybe my boss then could fire me, depending on what country and what rules are. So if I know about my rights, or if I know about how this organization works, or this family or whatever, then of course I can take those things into consideration.
Yeah. I think there's a pitfall there because in Sweden, it is supposed to, of course exaggerating or generalizing, but it's supposed to be a good climate in a workplace if you can be as honest to your boss as to anyone else, and your boss can be as honest to you as, it's like quite a flat thing. And just our neighboring country, with the country where you're from, Finland, the culture around the boss is quite different from what I understand, and it's sometimes that is challenging to realize that it's different in different cultures. Whatever we think is good or bad, but it's different, and that will of course impact how honest we are, for example, in the workplace.
Yes, and in this world that is getting more and more connected, people move around and we have the internet. So we might work in the same organization, but we're from totally different cultures. So we bring in different expectations about what is okay to express and what is not. And not everyone is aware that we have different upbringings, we have different cultural backgrounds. So again, being aware of these things is helpful, because then we can have more choice about it.
Because one thing I also see when you say that is like in Sweden, there is also quite a demanding culture that you're not necessarily supposed to share your opinions honestly, which is sometimes a good thing and sometimes not. But it's like you're supposed to be honest about kind of how you are affected or what you want. But the opinions, uh, sometimes you should, if especially if it's about how someone looks, like don't tell a Swedish woman she looks tired, because that if you have an opinion that she looks tired, she will probably just be angry at you for criticizing how she looks. And maybe that's the same in other cultures as well, but I do believe that there is a
I did that
there,
mistake once.
oh yeah.
I cared for a colleague and asked, "Are you tired?" And she got really upset.
Mm,
But because I knew I cared about her, it wasn't criticism about that she didn't wear any makeup, because that was obviously what was going on.
mm.
That so then that was fine for me at that
Yeah,
moment.
yeah. And there is, I mean, we haven't talked about that, but in nonviolent communication, there's of course like the honest expression is kind of framed with the observation, the feeling, the need, and the request, uh, and to kind of refrain from or differentiate that from the judgments or the opinions about the other, or and so on, or making demands. But that is all details that people can find out if they want to learn about nonviolent communication, I think.
Yeah, and that we could call that technique or
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah.
And it's still like as Marshall also said, that he would always prefer an honest jackal than like jackal disguised in nonviolent communication terms. So it's
Yeah.
again the intent and the transparency and the aliveness. And I think that is also a challenge. Like, how do I, if I focus too much on form, how to say it, what I want to say might die while I try.
Yeah.
So, and if I just go with the aliveness, I might, kill you with my words. So it's also like how to balance these two.
Well, one thing I've learned is that the more passionate that I am about, or more frustrated about the more intensity I have around my emotions, the more I am benefiting if I can keep talking about me. If I can start sentences with "This is how it is for me. This is what I like," and as soon as I'm mixing passionate expression with the word "you," then usually I make a mess of things. But if I keep on saying, well, I feel frustration because I feel helpless, I don't know what to do now, and I actually need help, instead of saying, you're an asshole just thinking about yourself, which is a very hard message to understand. And
Yeah.
even then, it might be better than me trying politely guilt trip you through being perfect in my expression.
Yeah. And I like what you're saying. And it kind of demands of you to be able to hear what you feel, like the
Yeah.
I. So that is like this that if I don't have that connection to my inner voice, that
Mm.
I'm hearing, how am I feeling, what am I wanting? So those questions, those I questions are important to practice, because
Mm.
with that
Yeah.
intensity, when that happens, it's much harder. And like different generations, like a couple of generations back in Sweden, this I was not it was forbidden, kind of.
Yeah.
You were not, you were, it did not work to say I.
Then already that yeah, that was a taboo in itself. It just showed you are selfish, you are
Yeah,
self-absorbed. So
yeah.
yes, that is a cultural thing as well.
And so we can also give ourselves some slack. Yeah, like if you're a Swede, you could think, oh, this is a pretty new thing, this I.
Hmm. Few
So
generations.
yeah, so we've been part of a collective for a long, long time and kind of submitted to that, and now we're getting more and more, becoming more and more individual. But we're beginners at that, so we also need to remember that, not to hurt ourselves while we practice something new.
So I'm curious if there are any questions about honest expressions that you wish me or other people would ask. If we're coming to an end of this talk, is there something that you would have liked me to raise?
Yeah, I often get questions like, can I say like this, or how should I say it? Like the form, like just give me the right phrase and everything will work out fine. Um, and sometimes a phrase will save the day. Um, but how do we interpret things? How do we kind of the step before, like what do I want to accomplish? How big is my care for me and you, or the context where I'm moving in? I find that when you can be really tough when your care comes through. Like when it's obvious that you care, you can scream at people. You can use harsh words when they hear that you actually care for their well-being or protecting something. Um, so I would like people to not only ask questions about, is this the right way of saying it, but also what is the right mode for me to be in, so that would work. So it's not like I
And how
want,
to get into that mode?
yeah. So it's not like I want to help people become more egoistic. I want to help people become more genuine, like including themselves in the bigger picture. So then we need to listen to ourselves, but we also need to kind of see what is my piece to the bigger picture? How can I be helpful?
So it sounds like you would be happy to get more questions, not about step 1 and 2, but actually about step 0, the step before actually saying something. The words, like what work do I need to do internally to actually to come to a place where I can communicate in a better way.
Because when people ask, can I say it like this? It's easy to imagine that they're just out to get what they want. Like, give me the recipe to get what I want. But it's like, but that's not a long-lasting solution if what I want doesn't include what is good for others. Like, we can just look at the news. The news are full of these when people just think of themselves and forget that we're actually interconnected.
Yeah. So it's like the system of rewards and punishment would be an easier way to get what you want, but it might, in the long run, you'll be ending up alone because you wouldn't have any long-lasting relationships.
Yeah.
And to put it simple.
If we're really good at being self-sufficient and self-centered, we'll end up alone.
Yeah.
And that might look attractive if you've been, suppressing yourself, but in the around the corner, it's not doable. I would say.
Not fun, I guess.
Yeah, if fun is something that you do together. Yeah.
So is there any last honest expressions you want to bring up?
I do enjoy this topic, and if people who listen to this find it interesting, or if they have questions, you can connect. There's a link in the show notes. Yeah.
Great. Okay, let's not say goodbye as you used to say, but see you next time.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us in this conversation with Liv Larson and Kay Rung. If you want to explore more of their work, upcoming trainings, or dive deeper into nonviolent communication, you'll find resources at www.frireliv.com. In the show notes, you'll also find links to books mentioned in this episode, as well as more information about our international mediation program and the Reimagine Communication program, designed for those who want to deepen their practice in mediation and bring nonviolent communication more fully into everyday life. Thanks for listening. And until next time, stay curious, stay connected.